Hey Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Porter, here again today. Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel, and today we're creating this Art by Marlene bright colourful art journal page. So I'll take you through what I used. I've used the handy size journal with the smooth pages, and then I've used a couple of the markers, so the black and white, the green and the pink, and then I've used a quote from the latest sticky quotes. And then I actually went for a really warm colour palette. So I pulled out all my yellows and oranges. So I've got Lace, which is white. I've got Happy, which is yellow. And I've got the Neon Yellow, which is Wow as well. And then I've got Boom, which is neon orange. Hot Pink, which is neon pink. And Funky, which is neon hot pink. And then I've got Ballet and Kissy. And I think that's all. Plus I used the Art by Marlene glue. And I've also used one of the new stamps, which has just come out, called Underwater Party, which is gorgeous sea creatures. And then I've used a couple of stencils from older ranges. There's Mystical Fire, and there's also a circly one that I use a lot. Plus I've used Marlene's watercolours and of course some of her brushes to get me painting. Okay, so I will list what's in what I use in the comments with the codes, so that you can find them a bit more easily. And what I probably need to explain is, at this point I am still waiting for my box of goodies with the newest line in them. I always create a couple of weeks ahead, but all the other girls have got theirs and I don't have mine, but I did manage to get hold of that stamp. So that's why the stamp that I'm using is the only new thing that you'll currently see, because right now it's what I have. So what I decided to do was create a background in warm, really warm colours. So basically, as I said, pulled out all my yellows and oranges, and I'm actually just putting them down on my page, just using my finger to spread them out. And because I've got a lot of neons in there, so they are translucent, so you'll see you get kind of nice different textures, like some a bit more opaque, some you can see through a bit more. And I've just kind of gone in with working in the rule of threes, so yellow in 3 different spots and then some orange in a few different spots. If you run out of room to do 3, you can actually come in like I'm doing now with some mark making and add that 3rd colour in that way. So everything's possible. Don't ever think that, oh no, I haven't done 3, it's not going to look right. It really is. So my tip would be to come in with yellow first, because it's the lightest colour, so it tends to get covered up with other stuff. So I always tend to gravitate towards the yellow first. So I did, to do my mark making, I did use the Mystical Fire stencil, which is really cool. And I used some Kissy paint. So I rubbed that over the top of my background. I actually just swiped it on with my finger, and then I lay the stencil down, and using a wet baby wipe, I pull up the paint from underneath the stencil, and it creates those really groovy patterns in the background. I also added some mark making, just using the flat brushes, which I love to just layer, and yeah, that's probably one of my favourite parts when I create an art journal page. One of those processes that I can really lose myself in. Okay, so I thought I'd use the new stamp that I have managed to get my hands on. And the first thing I saw, I just love that fish, but I decided to switch it up. Let's do something a little bit different. And so for that little fishy tail, which is just so gorgeous, I saw flowers. So what I've done is I've stamped around the edges of a little piece of the all-round paper, and I've just repeated that a few times using archival ink, and these are going to be flowers on my page. And yeah, I guess look at your stamps a little bit differently. It's something I like to do, and it kind of doubles all your art supplies. So yeah, so as soon as I saw this fishtail, I saw flowers. Okay, so after I've stamped them, I have actually come in with some of the watercolours, and I am going with more of a cool colouring. So my background, as you saw, was really warm, so yellows, oranges and pinks. So as a real contrast, I decided to go with blues and aquas, so that they would really pop off of the background. So I'm basically coming in with some blue and then some aqua, and now I've grabbed out my colour pencils and I'm just adding some definition and some depth to the colouring. And because my background has the yellow, orange and pink, I want to bring a slight bit of pinkiness into these flowers just to tie them together, just so that the it just sort of creates a cohesive art journal page when they tie together, because I am working with kind of two opposites or contrasty colours. So I've done that by adding a little bit of pink to the base of the flower, and now I'm just cutting them out. And I'm just kind of, working out whereabouts I will put them on my page. But probably the first thing I noticed when I put them on the page is that background. Whoa, is that loud? And I guess that was achieved, as I said, by layering a lot of the neons. So the beauty of Marlene's paints with her neons is you can get really vibrant colours. So, for example, when you put down the yellow, which is the happy, and then once that's dry, you add some of the wow, which is the neon yellow, it will really, really, really pop that yellow. So you will end up with really, really bright colours on your page. And I guess because I layered, between quite a few different colours, I've ended up with this really strong background. And I kind of was a bit worried that by the time I put my contrasty flowers on, it might be all a bit too much. So I decided to calm down my page a little bit. And I've done this by adding some white paint, which is the lace paint. And I'm just rubbing it on with my finger and then pulling it off using a wet baby wipe. I did choose that large circle stencil because it only leaves a little bit of the white behind. And I didn't want to totally destroy my background because I actually love it, but I just wanted to calm it down a little bit. So I also added a few little mark makings with a dry brush and some white paint. And the other reason that it's important to add white, so whenever you're working with bright colours, adding some neutral, so some black or some white, actually really pulls it all together. But also when I've cut out my little flowers, which are my little fishy tails, I have left a little white border. And so because the foreground and the focal points have some white in them, I needed to add some white into the background just to pull the whole art journal page together and make it cohesive. So as I've said, I wanted to have a bit of pink in the flowers, and because the flowers have got white in them, I want a bit of white in my background. So I'm just uniting the background and the focal point or the foreground together. So I've glued them down. I used the Art by Marlene glue, but I only put glue in the centre because I wanted the flowers to look three-dimensional and to sit up off of the page. And then I simply, with my black marker, have drawn in some stems or branches, and then added a few leaves as well. And using the marker, the green marker pens, I've coloured those in. And here you can see I'm using a fine black pen, and I just add a few little details, like going around the leaves again with those, and I go around the border with a scribbly border as well. And the other thing I did was, once I put those flowers down, that the colour that I created at the base of the flower, it looked a lot more purpley next to my more yellow and pink background. So I have added a little bit more pink in just using my pink marker. So then it was time to quickly add in a quote, and I put, "Today I won't stress over things I can't control," because I kind of felt like that this is where that page went. It was like so bright and I was like, whoa, but I managed to pull it all together. So that's the beauty of art journaling. You can just keep pushing until it all comes together. So thanks for joining me today. This is my first play with one of the new things. There'll be lots more to come when my box arrives. So as always, leave me a comment.